Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Yeah, you know things are bad for the Democrat Party when the political earthquakes that are dropping, the big bombshells, the devastating headlines aren't coming from Fox News, the New York Post, or some right-wing outlet. No, they're coming from the New York Times, the world's most premier DNC propaganda firm. Yeah, the New York Times, yes, the New York Times, just dropped a shock report that has Democrats absolutely losing their minds. So it turns out that we've been onto something here. The data seems to be telling a story, and that's a continuation of the trend. The slow motion train wreck, the utter demise of the Democrat Party continues before our very eyes, as the latest study suggests that half the counties in America are trending Republican and fast. In other words, the Trump 2024 cycle, the hype, the momentum that he's created is still going. It seems as though there's quite a healthy aftermath here. Let me show you guys what's going on, and then of course the Democrat copium that follows. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so we could go through the whole New York Times study, line by line, and analyze all the language and all the data, but honestly I don't think it's necessary. One picture should honestly suffice, because this picture is what's got everybody talking. Or actually it's the conversation that Democrats are trying desperately to avoid or shove under the rug. Just take a look. The Democrats' problems run deep, nearly everywhere. This is where voters shifted towards President Trump in each of the last 3 elections. The New York Times actually did a little breakdown. I just stumbled upon it, so might as well play this as well. Take a look.
This is the fundamental challenge for the Democratic Party. Trump has been making gains with their base. At the same time, he's been maximizing the Republican base too. This first map shows every county in the country where Republicans have strengthened each time Donald Trump has been on the ballot. And the second map shows you where the Democrats have gotten stronger each election. I'm calling these counties that have moved continuously triple trending counties. These are places where you really see the realignment happening in the country. The maps show the depth of the hole the Democratic Party finds itself in. All told, almost half the counties in America are triple trending to the right, while less than 2% of the counties in the country are trending continuously in the Democratic direction. The biggest concern for the Democratic Party, frankly, isn't just those top line numbers. It's the demographics and the complexion of those counties themselves.
And this is the biggest takeaway. Quote, almost half of counties are triple trending Republican, meaning cycle after cycle, 3 times in a row, the trend is moving rightward. It's all out devastation, folks. If you're a Democrat strategist and you woke up in the morning and you saw this, you'd spit out your damn coffee. The Democrats are losing ground everywhere. And now the question is, of course, do the Democrats get it? Are they accepting the reality? Well, not exactly their strong suit, right? Michael Knowles actually spoke about this on Fox News just earlier.
The Democrats are looking at this report out today in the New York Times shows that nearly half the countries in the country are triple trending Republican. Basically, none are triple trending Democrat. They have lost the people. And rather than look in the mirror and say, maybe we need to offer people something different, they say, no, we just need to speak in a way that these dumb idiots can understand. You heard their line. They said, we're speaking in a way that's too professorial. No, the problem isn't the words you're using. It's that you're offering open borders and crime and men in the women's bathroom and all sorts of things that the people don't want. The people are smart enough, and they're smart enough to reject you at the polls.
And he is absolutely right, folks. They've internalized none of it. They've learned nothing. And instead, they're doubling down on everything or just trying to pretend like it isn't happening. I mean, here's the perfect example. Debbie Wasserman Schultz was questioned about the findings of this New York Times study, which actually surveyed voters and asked them what animals they would ascribe to the Democrat and Republican Party, which animals they believe describe the parties best. And well, just take a look.
Our friends over at the New York Times are doing a series periodically looking into the Democratic Party and the challenges facing the Democrats as you try to run into the next election with some kind of momentum. Shane Goldmacher, among others, is doing this research. And he talks about in an article over the weekend, a focus group led by a longtime Democratic researcher who asked some 250 people to describe or compare each party to an animal. Republicans are seen as apex predators like lions, tigers, and sharks, beasts that take what they want when they want it. Democrats are typically tagged as tortoises, slugs, or sloths, slow, plodding, passive. And then a little bit later, there was a respondee who said the Democrats are like a deer in headlights. How is it that you think that the Democratic Party has earned these descriptions?
John, I'm not focused on the animals that some New York Times reporter compares the political parties to. My constituents are human beings. The human beings that I represent are facing devastating healthcare cuts, the most significant healthcare cuts that have been ever handed down by any administration. Almost 14 million people will lose their Medicaid coverage. Many hundreds of thousands more when you add the cuts to the Affordable Care Act. And as someone who knows that when you don't have your health, you don't have anything, I know how vital that is. So I'm focused on the humans I represent, not, animal comparisons.
I will tell you, it was the voters who were making the comparison with animals, and this was a focus group. It wasn't the New York Times reporter coming up with these labels. This was a Democratic-led focus group to try to figure out perceptions of the parties.
John, you said they were asked to compare the parties, so they were prompted to compare the parties to animals. That is ridiculous. I've watched a lot of focus groups, and I know that the people that I represent want me fighting for the humans.
You got voters looking at the Democrat Party and comparing them to sloths, quote, deer in the headlights. It's a perfect opportunity for some honest reflection, but instead this is what you get from the Democrat establishment. It's beyond parody at this point. While Republicans are being described as apex predators, sharks, the Democrats are being labeled as sloths and deers who are caught in the headlights. A bunch of confused geriatrics. I wonder where that came from after 4 years of Joe Biden. And the response seems to be to ignore it all, to pretend as if it isn't happening, to lash out, and then of course double down. Oh, it's not us, it's you, right? The same frickin' nonsense we've been hearing from Democrats. It's not that our policies suck, it's that you're too stupid. It's not that we picked the wrong candidates, it's that the messaging just didn't connect. Yeah, that's the copium that Ro Khanna is hitting us with.
What about just the candidates themselves? I want you to listen to Dan Feifer, the former Obama advisor, about the concerns about who Democrats have been putting up as candidates.
So for more than a decade, the face of the Democratic Party was someone that could not connect with young people on a cultural level. We're not cool. We're not interesting. We have become in the minds of a lot of voters, not always fair, but sort of the crossing guard party.
Do you agree with that, Mr. Khanna?
I agree with a lot of Dan Pfeiffer's comments, but not this one. I sort of disagree with. I mean, Kamala Harris, for whatever you say about her, did connect with people culturally. There was the Brett Summer. There were all these people putting up the coconut memes. I think the problem with the party is that we didn't have a clear economic vision for working class Americans. We didn't say, here's how we're going to restore communities that were hollowed out. Here's how we're going to actually improve your life in lowering huge costs or raising your wages. And there wasn't a sense that we were believable on those economic issues. I don't think that the answer is just, let's figure out how we become cooler. It's how do we have a substantive vision that's going to convince working class Americans we're going to improve their lives.
Kamala Harris, quote, connected with people culturally. Who exactly are you referring to? I'd like to know. The Democrats have a perception issue, and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are part of that problem. But the response is that actually, no, Kamala Harris was perfect. The issue is just our economic messaging. These people learn absolutely nothing, and they're now facing the worst numbers their party has seen in decades. The perception of their party is down in the dumps. They're viewed as low energy, weak, disingenuous. Meanwhile, the Republicans are viewed as apex predators, and they clearly don't know what to do to reverse it all. But don't worry, folks, because apex predator Rahm Emanuel is coming in to save the day. I just really needed an excuse to show this headline. But yeah, Rahm Emanuel is floating his 2028 presidential bid. Nothing says political threat like a disgraced Democrat mayor who was so bad, who ran Chicago so deeply into the ground that they replaced him with her. I mean, imagine being such a frickin' disaster that Lori Lightfoot is the upgrade. Folks, this is a party that is full-on imploding. The working class is gone, men are gone, Hispanics are shifting, black voters are slowly waking up, the counties are tripling down on the Republican support, and the Democrats obviously have literally nothing to offer. I don't know about you guys, but I just have a feeling that 2026 might be a little bit rough for the Democrat establishment, but of course that remains to be seen. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.